Thank you very much. And thank you to HRC for inviting me to my very first Time to Thrive. It's such an honor to be here and see all of you, so hi. A few years ago, my sister Haley and I convinced our mom, or Tracy, so yes, Tracy, work, where are you? To drive us to the grand opening of a mall near our home in Las Vegas. As Lady Gaga's song Applause played, a crowd gathered behind a local live news broadcast, and I was there, just doing what I do every time Lady Gaga's music comes on, you know, feeling myself. Overnight, the video of me voguing soon turned into a major viral sensation, and it was very big. It's given me a platform to be a voice for a young generation and allowed me to be connected in a bigger way to a huge community of supporters. But the Brendan on camera, it is who I've always been. Now the rest of the world just had a chance to see it. As a young person, I'm very lucky and very blessed. I have parents who are very supportive of who I am and me living my truth. And as I am still only in high school, like most teenagers, I'm still figuring it out. I'm starting to identify as one or as part of the trans community. I can't really label it because, you know, some days my more feminine side comes out, the she. And some other days I just don't really feel like putting on my fabulous mask and the he comes out. And, you know, I'm totally okay with that. And I don't know who I am or where I will be going in the future, who I will be 10 years from now, but I'm still a teenager. Who did? But I just like the limitless feeling of it, and I'm perfectly fine with who I am now. I think I just identify with both genders, so I go by the pronouns he or she, and it's just what I'm happy with. Thank you. I'm often asked by people my own age, how am I so confident and how can I get up every day to live my truth? Listen, I'm gonna be honest, being a teenager isn't easy. I mean, right, we've all been there, right? I mean, dealing with the bullying isn't the easiest, but I share my advice because it's what has worked for me. Be true to yourself and don't care about anything anyone else says about you. Those words ring true for our next guest, Andreja Pejic. Andreja's career began when she was first discovered in 2007 as a teen working at McDonald's. Since then, she has gone on to walk in top runway shows, such as Marc Jacobs and Jean-Paul Gaultier, where she opened the show in women's haute couture and closed the show in a men's suit during one season. During London Fashion Week, February 2015, Andreja made her debut as a woman at the Giles Deacon Show. Since then, she has been breaking boundaries. Andreja has continued to grace the covers of top fashion magazines and entertainment publications, and she has helped to pave the way for other transgender people in the fashion industry. Most recently, she is the subject of a documentary about her transition. Along the way, she has served as a role model to me and many other LGBT kids around the world. Join me in taking a look at her groundbreaking partnership with Kenneth Cole. Oh, I'm sorry, girl. These are so hard to pronounce sometimes.
For me, it's always been important to live as free as possible from other people's ideas of what I should be and to really live life to the fullest. At the age of 18, I set out into the world and I told myself I was going to live the life of a woman, and I kind of never looked back. A lot of people can be judgmental because they don't understand something. For me, courage is about standing out for what you believe in, standing out for others, I guess to live a truthful life and to add something good to the world. I consider myself courageous because of the way I've been able to be truthful about who I am on a public level, being able to tell my story and change people's minds.
Please help me welcome supermodel and transgender advocate Andreja Pejic.
Well, thank you. I need to raise this up a little bit. Thank you, Brendan, for that amazing introduction. I must say I've watched your YouTube videos, and girl, you are fierce. And thank you all for coming to Dallas to see my one-woman show. It's a great turnout tonight. But that would be cool. I would love to have a one-woman show in Dallas. First, I want to salute all of you teachers, healthcare providers, youth workers out here. My mother is a teacher, and I believe by dedicating your lives to serving the younger generations, you guys perform some of the most important work in society, often under some of the most difficult conditions in the economy. I also want to take this opportunity to voice support for teachers and students in Detroit who are taking a brave step against the system hell-bent on destroying public education. I myself work as a fashion model, and I was known for having this gender non-conforming career, and I walked both men's and women's high-end shows. And more recently, after completing my transition into womanhood, I became the first transgender model to land on the pages of American Vogue and to have a cosmetics contract. My job can be pretty interesting, and I know how lucky I am to have come from being a war refugee to have this international career. The chances of something like that happening are probably like winning the lottery. However, sometimes it does get fickle, worrying about your look or your style or what's hot. So I've tried to concentrate on talking about issues like imperialism, nationalism, economic inequality, LGBT rights, immigration, etc. And I hope to continue doing so. And I want to thank Kenneth Cole and the Human Rights Campaign for this opportunity to, giving me this chance to talk, something that models don't get to do every day. It's no secret after I came out to the press that I was born a little bit different. I want to emphasize the little bit because I honestly don't believe that transgender babies or intersex babies are that different from other human babies. Now, this minuscule difference, I believe, in a liberated and logical society wouldn't have been a big problem. But under an oppressive class system, what often came as just natural feminine behavior was deemed unconventional, even threatening to social morals, because I was growing up as a boy, and boys aren't supposed to act like that. Feeling like whole parts of myself, my being, were unnatural, naturally caused a lot of grief throughout my adolescence. And from first grade to about the middle of my teens, I was very much a loner. Playing with boys seemed like a huge burden, having to live up to their masculine standards in a rough world. It just felt like a massive performance. And as soon as we got to that age where being labeled queer was the worst thing in the world, playing with girls was a big no-no. I hated recess and lunchtime, hated it, because it meant having to socialize. And that's just something I wasn't good at. Normally, I would head straight to the library, where I would read a book or do my homework. But sometimes the library was closed, and that was the worst. In that case, I would usually go to my locker and grab my lunch, and then I would just start walking around the school, back and forth and around, always in motion, and if anyone asked, I pretended I was looking for someone. But I wasn't looking for anyone, I just didn't want to stand alone. Books and teachers were my sanctuary, and in fact, I was very much a teacher's pet, and I'm not afraid to admit that. My teachers most likely didn't know that I was trans, or what that even meant, but they could see that I was different, and they were sensitive to that, and sometimes that's all that's necessary. I remember a teacher who would open the library just for me, and then another who would keep me company when she was on yard duty. Then there was the late Dr. Kennedy of Melbourne's Monash Gender Dysphoria Clinic. She was the first person I ever revealed my gender identity to at the age of 13. I found her online by Googling transition from male to female. Words can't describe how incredible it felt to talk to someone and reveal all of my secrets that I'd been hiding, and to have them understand and not think I'm crazy. Now, growing up in this day and age is very, very complex. Growing up in a poor working-class family is filled with demoralizing obstacles and a huge lack of opportunities and basic services. As teachers and youth-oriented workers, you cannot change these social conditions. That would take a revolution. You just have to do your best to meet the needs of every child and offer them guidance and wisdom while respecting their unique development. From personal experience, I can tell you that you can have immense positive influence on a child growing up trans or gender non-conforming, often because a lot of these kids face environments at home with parents or grown-ups that understand very, very little about what they're going through. Because of rigid gender expectations, it may not be hard to spot that kid on the playground that's struggling to abide by traditional gender behavior. If they're having a hard time, I ask that you lend them a helping hand. Maybe keep them company once in a while. With an attempted suicide rate of 40%, we are here talking about one of the most vulnerable sections of the youth population. Life isn't an easy matter, but we have to give it a proper shot. And I ask that you remain sensitive to this youth, because it could help them have theirs. And to all of you school kids, I'm going to say, if you ever feel any sort of prejudice towards any group of people, or even if you're struggling and you start believing that that struggle is exclusive to you, something that others will never understand, something that will always keep you separate, please remember that this kind of thinking was placed inside of you by a system that thrives on keeping you divided and squashing your revolutionary energy. So stay in school, educate yourselves, love one another, and don't let Uncle Sam win. Thank you.
One more round of applause for Andreja. That's all we have for you folks. We want to make sure that you have safe journeys home, and please save the date for Time to Thrive 2017, where we'll be in Nashville, Tennessee. Our young people, we have more programming for you, so we'll help you guide you to the right direction outside the ballroom here. Have a fantastic Valentine's Day. We'll see you next year. Thank you, everyone.
You should be rolling with me, you should be rolling with me. You're a real life fantasy, you're a real life fantasy. But you're moving so carefully, let's start living dangerously.